let's discuss ways to take care of your brushes and to make sure that they keep working and looking like new. We're starting out here with a brand new brush. Many times when you get a new brush, there will be a plastic covering to protect the bristles. That covering is on there for shipping purposes. You want to remove it by gently giving it a twist, taking it off, and throwing that away. You don't want to save these covers and try to place them back on the brush, because many times you'll get bristles caught in between and it'll bend the bristles and damage the brush. So throw those covers away. Don't try to save them. Most new brushes have a setting in the bristles that will feel real stiff, and you want to work that setting out by breaking up that starch or just by dipping it in water and working it in the palm of your hand. You want to wash that setting away and soften up those bristles. The other thing that this does is it conditions the hair. Now, if you're working with water-based products like acrylics and watercolors, tempera, any water-based items, you want to condition the bristles with the water by working in the palm of your hand. You want to force that water into those bristles. What that'll do is it'll condition the hair so that when you dip into the paint won't start to dry in the middle of dry bristles. By dampening it, it slows down that drying time in there. Many of you may have brushes where there's a little bit of paint that's built up on the inside and eventually your bristles start flaring out like this. That can be caused by dried up paint down in the base of the bristles. If you're working with oil-based products or different types of media that don't work with water, you want to condition the bristles with whatever media. So with oils, you're going to use some type of a turpentine or mineral spirits to condition those bristles. Okay, so you've been painting with your brush, and now it's time to clean the paint out of the brush. I'm working here with acrylic color, but this works with just about any type of media. Obviously, if you're working with oil colors, non-water-based products, you'll use the appropriate media to clean them out. I'm going to give this brush a gentle swish in the bottom of this bowl. You don't want to bang the brush up and down or slam the bristles because it can damage that hair on there. Generally, working with a 2 to 3 different compartment basin works best, because that first one you can rinse the bristles out, get most of that color out, give it another rinse in the next one, and another rinse in the last one. Okay, you've rinsed your brush. The next thing is to take on a clean piece of paper towel and rub the brush across that surface. If you see color coming out like that, you want to give it another rinse and keep working doing the same thing until that brush comes clean. Now, when you're done using your brush for the day, you want to give it a really thorough wash. And the way to do that is to use some type of soap. And I always tell people, treat the hair on your brush like you treat the hair on your head. Don't use harsh detergents and soaps on there. Use bar soap, dish soap. Avoid those with degreasers, because those can actually dry out natural hair. Just inexpensive shampoos or soaps can be used. And you want to take the brush and you want to work it in your hand in that lather, working it gently back and forth to force that soap between the bristles. Give it a good rinse, work it on your paper towel, and if you don't see color coming out on the paper towel, your brush is good and clean. You want to make sure that you dry off the ferrule of the brush. You want to make sure that the handle is dry, and then you want to take and you want to lay these brushes flat when they dry. A lot of people make the mistake of standing them upright, and by standing them upright in a container, all of the water that's still in those bristles can work its way down the ferrule to the handle of the brush. If the handle is wooden, that moisture can actually soak into the wood. It'll cause the wood to expand, and then the paint starts to crack and peel. The ferrule on the brush, the metal part, will actually stretch, and then as the brush dries, that wood shrinks down and your end is real wobbly and the paint starts cracking and peeling off. So make a few other things to remember when working with brushes. A lot of times we have a tendency to just set our brushes in the water and leave them while we're painting. It's really best to wash those brushes out in between, even if it's only going to be in the water for a few minutes, because leaving brushes in water, especially wooden handles, will absorb moisture and it'll cause those handles to crack and peel and come apart. So make sure that you wash them thoroughly. Don't leave them soaking in water for extended periods of time. If you're not going to be using your brush for a while and it's going to be in storage, one thing that you can do to help prolong the life is to condition the bristles with some soap. You don't need a lot of soap in there, you don't need a lot of suds. I'm just kind of gently wiping away the extra suds that are in there. Store the brushes flat. Make sure that they don't go into a container where they can go along the side of the container where they're going to get bent. You want them to be able to lay freely in there without having obstacles. A couple other things to remember that'll keep your brushes lasting longer is don't be too harsh with them. Synthetic bristle brushes are nylon material. They stretch like plastic, so if you pull and you stretch or you really bend them and twist them, you can really damage those bristles. So use care with those brushes. Natural hair brushes, if you're too rough with them, you can actually break the hair off. Brushes can last a long time, but they're not going to always last forever. But taking good care of them will give you a longer life with your brushes.